Hello friends and welcome back. If you tend to overcommit or you often find that you have put too much on your plate, this video is for you. Let's immediately dive into 3 actionable ways that we can make sure we are not taking on too much at one time. Number 1, assign an intensity level to different tasks. I learned this tip from a book called The Ultimate Time Management Toolkit by Aretha Williams. Before reading this book, I already knew that all items on a to-do list did not have the same impact. And I always try to differentiate between tasks and projects on my to-do list. A task is often a single actionable item, whereas a project is a bigger undertaking with multiple tasks within it. So I always work to keep my to-do list at the task level by breaking down projects into their component tasks. This book took things to the next level by introducing me to the task intensity meter. The idea is that different tasks have different intensity levels depending on how much they take out of you emotionally and mentally. So any given task can be either high intensity, low intensity, or mid-level intensity. And what is high intensity to you might be mid or low intensity level to someone else. Another really important part of using this tool is to identify your daily capacity for intensity. How many high-intensity tasks can you complete in one day without feeling completely stressed out? My favorite thing about this tool is that it's not about the amount of time you have available, it's about the amount of emotional and mental energy you can expend in a sustainable way. After you have rated your tasks based on their level of intensity, you can rearrange your to-do list in a way that feels more doable, more realistic. And the goal here is sustainability, so we don't want to overdo things today so that we feel absolutely burnt out tomorrow. The second idea is to use a limited physical repository for your tasks. And this is a tip I've heard expressed in many different ways from various sources. In one of my previous videos, I talked about differentiating between your daily to-do list and your someday list. The idea here is to not let yourself get distracted by a long list of everything that has ever crossed your mind. Keep your to-do list short and focus on items that you are ready to move forward with and you can realistically accomplish within a day. So in the book I just mentioned, Aretha Williams recommends using a Post-it as your daily to-do list. This really forces you to keep your list small and you get to start a new list every day. I'm a big fan of starting a fresh list every day and I've talked about it in a different video as well. If something didn't get done on a particular day, you can choose to add it to your to-do list on a different day, but only if it's still something you want to do. Starting fresh daily forces you to consider what really needs to be on your list. In the book Make Time, one of the authors, Jake Knapp, talks about the idea of a burner list. This is not so much about daily to-dos as it is about keeping your work in progress limited. It is a great way to manage the number of projects you are working on at one time. Basically, you take a blank sheet of paper and you set it up using 4 quadrants, much like the burners on a stove. On the front burner, that's the top left, you list your most important projects. This is your priority project and there's really only room for one main project at a time. Add a list of the to-do items related to that project. Much like with cooking, the front burner will get the most of your attention. On the bottom left side, leave some counter space. This open space will give you a visual break so the page doesn't feel so overwhelming. As you work through your main project, you will likely identify new to-do items. You can use this space to add them. On the back burner, that's your top right corner, you list your second most important project and all the tasks related to that. And again, just like with cooking, your back burner will get some attention, but never as much attention as the front burner. You maintain awareness of it, and you may have to occasionally stir the pot or do something else related to it. But then you come back to your priority project on the front burner. The last quadrant on the bottom right is your kitchen sink. That's where you put all the miscellaneous stuff that doesn't fit within Project 1 or Project 2. The kitchen sink is your catch-all for all the random tasks and activities. Because this entire burner list fits on one page, you can easily scrap it and start over. So once you've made some decent progress and crossed out multiple things, feel free to start a brand new burner list. The simple process of creating a burner list will force you to prioritize and limit what you choose to focus on. The third idea is to put it on your calendar. This is a tip that has risen in popularity in the productivity world. In fact, there are a bunch of people who never use a to-do list because their calendar holds everything they need to do within a day. If you work somewhere where other people can invite you to meetings or can put things on your calendar, then blocking time to work on important tasks is one way to ensure that you will get to them. Another great thing about scheduling your to-do directly into your calendar is that you have to make trade-offs. You can only add so many things to your calendar, so that forces you to pick certain things over others. The calendar creates clear boundaries around the time you have available, so you have to prioritize. When you only use a to-do list, it is really easy to focus on your capabilities and not your overall capacity. When we consider each task on its own, the main deciding factor is, am I capable of doing this? And the answer is often yes. In the moment, we don't always think about the cumulative impact of all the tasks we have already committed to. We don't think about our overall capacity. So while we probably have the capabilities to complete every single task, we don't have the capacity to complete all of them on the same day or within the same week. Pairing your to-do list with a calendar is a great way to make sure that you don't overcommit and that you consider your overall capacity. Lastly, putting things on your calendar helps you see where you need transition time. If you have to attend a formal event by 6 p.m., you may have to leave your office by 4:30 so you have enough time to go home, change, and get to the event on time. But if you have meetings scheduled up until 5 p.m., this could be a problem. So you may want to block this transition time on your calendar so it doesn't get scheduled over. So combining your to-do list with a calendar is a great way to reveal things that you may have otherwise overlooked. To prevent ourselves from constantly overcommitting, we have to put systems in place that allow us to manage our energy and our overall capacity. We cannot let those decisions happen on the spot because we have a tendency to underestimate the impact of the things we agreed to. These tips are a great place to get started on creating these systems. But remember that hearing this information is one thing, but implementing what you've learned is where the magic happens. So I really hope you try these tips and that they are helpful to you. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.